Hello Aries, and welcome to your monthly horoscope for March. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. As ever, I'm going to give you the major themes of this month for your sign personally, but then please stay with me. I will dive deep to give you in much greater detail all the key dates and influences. But without doubt, the biggest thing that happens this month is on the 20th, because that's the spring equinox, and that's when the Sun returns to your sign. That's going to see a big uplift in your physical vitality and your drive. The Sun previous to that is in Pisces, which is much more reflective. But ironically, because of the ongoing conjunction between Venus and Mars, which to the 6th is in the worldly sign of Capricorn, and from the 6th onwards to the end of the month in the friendly sign of Aquarius, it's not going to be too much soul searching, I don't feel. More a need to tune in to your sixth sense, which is really emphasised by the new moon in Pisces of the 2nd. But I'll explain why that can be such a sensational new moon for you when I go into detail. The other key thing I want to tell you about is Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication, and it fires through 3 signs this month and arrives in your sign on the 27th. So that's really exciting. So please come back for more. But if you are new to my channel, I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you'd like to get your free written daily horoscope fired to your device each morning, I've been writing these for over 25 years. Please see the link below to subscribe. And also, if you'd like to get your year ahead forecast and my character analysis in my special package, you can get 30% off and gain Syrian insights as to what the next 12 months will hold for you based on your personal astrology, your time, date and place of birth, which ascends this Zodiac broadcast. Hello Aries, and welcome to your monthly horoscope for March. It's a really vibrant month. There's so much going on. It's packed full of activity and excitement. Now it begins, of course, with the Sun in your 12th house of Pisces, but you also have Jupiter there, the traditional ruler of Pisces, and Neptune, the co-regent, a swirling mist, brilliant for anything to do with the instinctive plane, so to do with spirituality, the arts, music, a higher consciousness. Jupiter is the planet of uplift, of growth, of good luck traditionally, and it's going to be alongside the Sun through the first 9 days. What a great piece of fortune for you, because Jupiter is going to reinforce the Sun. Usually at this time of the year for you, there can be a sense that you need to just really step back, be much more hunkered down. But actually, although there can be an element of that, I think you're going to be engaging with things that really interest you. So for example, Venus and Mars are combining beautifully through the first 6 days in Capricorn. So that's a very worldly and earthy and potentially material connection. Remember, Venus can be about money. Mars is about thrust, loves being in Capricorn. So a chance to use the instinctive energies the Sun is giving you along with Jupiter. You can use those in a very positive, even fortunate way. Then again, perhaps you're going to be more aligned to downloading some new information. This could be a philosophy, a spiritual approach. It could be someone is going to become known to you that provides guidance to many people, someone who's got a global voice. It could be someone very ancient, it could be someone very new and trendy, but you can really tune into them, you know, whether it is through TikTok or from an ancient text. The choice is yours. But of course we do have a new moon on the 2nd, and that embraces Jupiter, but it also forges a glorious sextile to Uranus, the planet of surprises, in the sector of the 2nd house for you, very much about resources. So that collection of energy in Capricorn, which comes through Venus, Mars, and on the 3rd of the month, Pluto, a mighty alliance just after that new moon. It doesn't mean to say that this year you're going to be solely look into your navel and trying to embrace more spiritual pursuits, although you can. If you're very much into healing, if you haven't been able to access some therapies like massage or aromatherapy or chiropractic over the last few years because of COVID, if you are able to do that where you're living, I think that's going to be something that really does appeal to you. But just as easily, you could talk to someone on a confidential basis about some brilliant ideas you've got, perhaps ones that are really quite entrepreneurial. Someone with a mighty presence and magnetism can really impact on you right at the start of this month. It really is that exciting. Now, of course, the new moon is an opportunity to reset our intentions, and the 12th house is the more psychological plane. Jupiter being there, I think, just reassures you really that even if you do decide to step back, there can be some learning, there can be some gains from this, and that's an important thing to remember. But on the 6th, your ruler Mars and Venus switch into the sign of friendship, the sign of the future, Aquarius, and that's a very sociable and outgoing transit generally. But of course with the Sun, and then from the 10th, Mercury, which moves from Aquarius into Pisces, and Mercury doesn't do so well in Pisces, I think you're being asked to really divine who are the fair weather folk in your world and who are the real ace players, the people you can really rely upon. And I think there could be, at the beginning of that second 10 days of the month, a little bit of a sort of shift where you're not feeling quite as ebullient and you may just be sensing, look, who can I really rely upon? But then the combination of Venus and Mars in Aquarius could mean that someone close to you, perhaps through a group or someone you experience on an everyday basis, may actually hold a candle for you, but they're not sharing it. They may be keeping that affection to themselves for the time being. Maybe it's because they're a little private. Maybe it's because the timing doesn't quite feel right. But look out for the non-verbal signals, Aries, because it is possible that someone is really gripped with your glorious energies. Now, from the 16th through to the 20th, we have a very positive link between the Sun and Pluto. Now, already Pluto has obviously been hugely influential in that conjunction between Venus and Mars on the 3rd. This one, it can be about inner changes or it could be physical changes, particularly with Pluto in the 10th house. It's just that the way you receive this information could be quite profound. That's the 12th house energy of the Sun being in Pisces. But the 18th sees a full moon in your sector of the physical side, the physical plane. Now, of course, on the other side of the heavens, we have the Sun in the part of your situation to do with the spiritual and psychological part of life. And when it comes to your work, the following 2 weeks, it could be that someone's actually working behind the scenes very much for your benefit, putting in a good word, trying to provide some kind of shield for you. And this is because Jupiter is very influential on this full moon. So it's influential on the new moon, influential on the full moon. Jupiter can be about exaggerated hopes. It can be where we take things too much for granted. We're overconfident. Important to avoid those traps. But I think generally, because the 6/12 axis that the full moon emphasizes can be about trying to balance our health in a holistic way. So if you are thinking about those treatments, this would be a fine time to go for it. But it's kind of saying, don't ignore your body. Don't either ignore your emotions. It's about finding a holistic blend of both. And I think that can actually be very, very helpful and healing to you. However, on the 19th, Venus does go into a square in Aquarius with Uranus. It could be a jagged moment with a friend, or is it suddenly there's going to be a need to be more daring around your sex life? You could want to let it all hang out at that point. If it's because you are feeling vulnerable because of the full moon, just be aware of what you may get from the situation or what you may lose. But on the 20th, we have glory in its whole because the sun moves into your sign and we start the new astrological year with the spring equinox, because the Western tropical zodiac is based on the 4 quadrants of the seasons. It's not based on the constellations. The constellations were there symbolically. That's why we don't take into account all of the constellations in the sun's ecliptic. So this is a beginning, but for you, because the sun moves back into your sign, you're switching from a more reflective phase, potentially with this 12th house energy, and moving into the moment. And that is going to see some physical uplift, some drive. But because Mercury is still stuck in the sign of Pisces, you still may have some anxieties about who you can really trust. And the 18th to the 27th sees a very jagged, abrasive right angle between your ruler Mars and Uranus. If there is somebody in your world who has very different values to you, whether it's about money, about politics, about their principles, it really could come to the fore in quite a robust way, quite a strong way. But equally, maybe you're going to want to follow your passions in a very instantly gratifying way, and it could possibly be with a friend. But a little bit like I was hinting about with the Venus square with Uranus, you may gain something, but you may lose something. It just depends on what you both want and how clearly you're both setting the terms of reference. So if you want a bit of a fling, Mars' square with Uranus is absolutely perfect, but it's not likely to be a long-lasting one. It's not impossible, but the odds are reduced because Mars is very much about instant gratification. The sign of Aquarius is about individuality and freedom. And if you're wanting something that's more long-lasting, the instability of Uranus in its fall in the sign of Taurus suggests that it may just be something that will be very magnetic, very exciting and pulse racingly uplifting, but not necessarily have the attributes to stand the test of time. But as I said, it could be someone that you fancy so much, but you do have that accord with as well, and they could be around for a very long time. So it just depends on the person and you, and of course your individual personal astrology. Now on the 27th, Mercury arrives in your sign, and I think that's something that you're really going to appreciate, because some of the anxieties that have crept in from the 10th through to the 27th will just melt away, and that's going to be really gratifying. So I think that pretty well sums up this month for you, Aries. There's that opportunity to really get in touch with maybe the shadow side of life, the shadow side of yourself. If you're someone who's very evolved with personal development, this can be a month when you feel very comfortable and you can thrive. If it's newer to you, then it can still be hugely exciting, and a huge growth of knowledge and insights can follow. But it will be once the sun moves into your sign on the spring equinox that you really explode forwards in your inimitable way. Wishing you all the best, stay safe, take care, and goodbye.